Exclusive contract with Feilu Novel Network Novel. Sui and Tang Dynasties. Liangzi Runs Away. At the beginning, during a journey, Cao Feng encountered an upcoming engagement banquet, but to his surprise, Xiuning fled a few days ago. Cao Feng was directly engaged to Changsun Wugou and held the banquet as scheduled to avoid becoming a laughingstock for others. His father Li Yuan came to apologize and offered so-called compensation, hoping to expose this matter. If apologizing is useful, then what else should we do legally? Xiuning. I regret that even though my mother is the queen of the world, all the heroes of the world belong to me. Li Yuan. I finally understand my father's last words and cannot offend the generation of the Cao family. It turns out to be the imperial family. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Just crossing the country, encountering Li Niangzi's escape from marriage. You are listening at novel full.audio. During the day period, the residence of the Cao family in Daxing City. Here is. After a sound of noise, Cao Feng slowly opened his eyes. Have you traveled through it? He looked around in confusion, and what caught his eye was the quaint courtyard. Ding, detect the host's awakening. Memory implantation begins. A cold voice followed. Immediately, countless fragments of memory suddenly flooded into Cao Feng's mind. He is the only son of the Cao family from a declining family. His parents passed away early and he is guarding the Cao family mansion alone. Although the Cao family was a declining family, it was because Cao Feng's grandfather had a close personal relationship with Li Yuan's father in earlier years. The two of them had a good relationship until a few years ago, when they arranged a dull marriage for Cao Feng and Xiuning. Now, it is the year of marriage and it is time to fulfill their obligations. Both families were preparing to fulfill their agreement, and the engagement naturally began to be prepared. Due to the Li family's influence, it spread throughout Daxing City. I am also delighted to wait until the auspicious day arrives and directly confirm the major matters of my marriage. However, just 2 days before the engagement, when the news spread widely throughout the city, Xiuning unexpectedly chose to flee the engagement. Once that day doesn't appear, the entire engagement will become a joke. It is still a joke known to many powerful figures and the entire people of Daxing. The memory came to an abrupt end, and Cao Feng's mind returned to clarity. It's simply deceiving people too much. Cao Feng let out a furious shout, his fists clenching with a clattering sound. If you don't want to, you can explain in advance why you have to leave without saying goodbye before the auspicious day approaches. At this moment, Cao Feng's forehead had bulging veins. Although she is entrusted to her parents, if Xiuning is unwilling, she can definitely speak up before fulfilling the agreement. If things are clear and the agreement of our ancestors is not fulfilled, why did we suddenly flee when the two families confirmed a time and there was an engagement banquet? Then, how should we face the people who come to the banquet? His name will surely become a laughing stock in everyone's eyes. It can be said that this is such an insult, enough to make him unable to lift his head throughout the entire celebration. Ding, detected the host's anger. Do you want to activate the system immediately now? The cold voice rang out again. Activate. Cao Feng withdrew his thoughts and said in a low voice. He is already aware of his time travel, so having a system is not the norm. Ding, the Emperor system has been activated. The system prompts. What is the imperial system? Cao Feng asked about the system functions. Ding, the Emperor system is a reward system that allows hosts to complete tasks by publishing them. The system explained. Ding, completed tasks have level judgments, and the higher the judgment, the richer the rewards obtained. The system added. I see. After listening, Cao Feng quickly understood the functions of the system. Ding, the host is activated for the first time and rewards beginners with a gift pack. The system prompts again. Open the beginner gift pack. Cao Feng can be said to have no hesitation. Ding, congratulations to the host for inheriting the true dragon aura of the first emperor. The system prompts. The true dragon aura of Emperor Shi. Upon hearing this, Cao Feng was overjoyed. What is the true dragon energy? This true dragon aura is the power of the first emperor Yingzheng to establish the great Qin dynasty. That is the first person to unify China, and it is not an exaggeration to say that he is the first person in the world. Whoosh! Cao Feng was still in surprise when he suddenly heard a dragon chant. Immediately after, the top of Cao Mansion shone brightly, and a black dragon descended from the sky. Black dragon directly penetrated into Cao Feng's eyebrows, and he only felt a shock in his body, his ears and eyes suddenly becoming bright in all directions. The overall temperament has undergone a fundamental change, with a majestic aura between the eyebrows, exuding an absolute domineering aura that surpasses all others. Ding, congratulations to the host, and also obtain the first emperor's sword. Tai sword, Peiyu. The system prompt continues to sound. Cao Feng felt a sinking sensation in his hand, and a blade with ancient patterns and a vast expanse appeared in his hand. A clear whistle. He drew his Taya sword, which was carved with a black dragon pattern of 5 claws and had obscure characters on it. Buzzing. Taya had a spirit, and suddenly he trembled uncontrollably. A sharp edge seemed to be able to create a world and match his domineering aura. As for jade pendants, they are undoubtedly of the highest quality, and at first glance, they are not ordinary. Cao Feng adapted to his own changes and then withdrew his Taya sword. His gaze followed a letter placed on the desk. The letter was sent by someone after Li Xiuning left. Scream. Immediately, Cao Feng quickly opened the letter. The little woman hopes that, entrusted to the person she loves, he should be a hero of the time, capable of fighting on the battlefield with literary and political strategies. A short number just explains why I left without saying a word, without any apologies. It seems that in her eyes, Cao Feng, who will suffer from ridicule from others, is not worth mentioning. It's extremely ridiculous. Looking at the content of such a letter, Cao Feng was extremely angry and laughed back. If the letter was given to him before fulfilling the agreement, then he wouldn't be so angry. However, this letter was delivered without hesitation before the engagement was about to arrive. How does this make him believe and how does it make him understand? Does his own dignity, as well as the dignity of the Cao family, deserve to be trampled upon like this? Shame on oneself, but also implicate the late parents, who were the grandfather who established a child relationship with someone else at that time. Ding, the system releases tasks. Side quests, find a breath for the Cao family and regain their own dignity. The system sounded and the task appeared in Cao Feng's mind. Okay, it's just right. Cao Feng's eyes froze as he insulted him, he could never remain silent. Since you can both take a breath and receive system rewards, why not do it? In the hall of the Tang Dynasty mansion, Li Yuan, his wife Do Shi, and the other 3 sons all arrived. Li Yuan frowned tightly and remained silent, with an unattractive expression. Father, since Sister A has already left Daxing, let her go. Li Shimin opened his mouth and surprisingly spoke for his elder sister. In fact, for him, what was wrong with his elder sister's escape from marriage? Sister is proficient in both literature and martial arts, and has done a lot for the Li family. Such a heroine among women, who can match her, is definitely not an ordinary person. Looking at Cao Feng, who has become the only child of the fallen Cao family, not to mention his incomplete civil and military skills, he still appears to be weak in literature. How can such a person be worthy of his elder sister? Father, Cao Feng's personal ability is not good, and it is reasonable for Xiuning to flee from his family. Li Jianqing, the elder brother, followed suit. In his opinion, Cao Feng lacks outstanding abilities and cannot bring any benefits to the Li family. Why marry Li Xiuning, a shrewd and capable family member, to such an ordinary person. That's right, I really can't blame sister for this. After all, Cao Feng is not qualified enough. Li Yuan spoke more bluntly. But since our two families have a good relationship, we should take the blame first. All we need to do is to give Cao a partial official position as compensation. After thinking for a moment, Li Shimin suggested. Not bad, given the current situation of the Cao family, one official and half position is enough to make up for it. Li Jianqing rarely achieved unity with Li Shimin, while Li Yuanji did not speak, but nodded in agreement. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. Apology is useful, what should the law do? You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's going on? Dou did not express any opinion, but she was somewhat dissatisfied with her husband's decision. After Li Xiuning fled, he sent people to search multiple times, which shows his determination to marry Xiuning out. In Dou's view, isn't this pushing his daughter into the pit of fire? Qin is just a verbal agreement. Even if you don't fulfill it, it won't hurt much. Why is your husband so resolute? Thinking of this, Dou further complained. Brush. At this moment, everyone's gaze turned to Li Yuan. After all, as the head of the family, it is up to him to decide how to handle it. Xiuning, run away at this moment. I'm afraid this marriage won't be successful. Li Yuan sighed and suddenly recalled his father's confession before his death in his mind. Father did not explain any other matters, but instead specifically instructed the Cao family to form an alliance with the Cao family when the Cao family was in theft. Even if a marriage cannot be formed, do not offend him. His wife and son Jianqing and others are unaware of this matter. Father. Seeing his father's trance, Li Shimin called out. The compensation from the Cao family needs to be given, but I also need to personally come and apologize. Taking back his thoughts, Li Yuan had already made a decision in his heart. What? Li Jianqing and his brothers all exclaimed in surprise. Father, what is your identity? How can you go to the Cao family to apologize? Li Shimin was the first to say. My father is the head of the Li family with 5 surnames and 7 hopes, and he is also a Tang duke conferred by the court. Apologizing to a descendant of a declining family with such a prestigious status would be like losing the identity of a family head. If it spreads, wouldn't it be criticized by others? Father, this matter is absolutely unacceptable as it will damage your identity. Li Jianqing followed suit. Master, what Jianqing and Shimin said makes sense. Regarding this, Dou was unable to maintain composure. If father feels that he owes too much, then he should compensate Cao Feng more. At this time, Li Yuanji also advised. You don't need to say much, I have made up my mind. Before his father's death, his confession would not go wrong, and Li Yuan's eyes were firm. Sigh. Seeing this, the Li Jianqing brothers all knew that persuasion was useless, and Dou let out a faint sigh. Order Lu Wenjing to accompany me on this trip. Immediately, Li Yuan instructed. Father, should we inform all the invited dignitaries that the banquet has been cancelled? Thinking of another thing, Li Jianqing suddenly said. I will inform you about this matter after I visit the Cao family. This is not the most important thing, Li Yuan waved his hand. Let's go. After Lu Wenjing arrived, he got on the carriage and headed straight for the Cao family mansion. There is not much distance from the Tang dynasty mansion to the Cao family. Waiting at the gate, Li Yuan took a deep breath and walked in. A wise nephew. And Cao Feng was still pondering how to regain a mouthful of malice for himself. At this moment, he knew who was coming. Well done, it's perfect to explain this matter clearly. As Cao Feng put away his thoughts, Li Yuan just walked into the waiting room. This. Just as he saw Cao Feng stand up, Li Yuan couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. The wise nephew in the past had a gentle and weak appearance, like a sick scholar with no momentum to speak of. Nowadays, it is the soared eyebrows and stars, giving people a huge sense of oppression, as if it is a sharp blade about to be unsheathed, making people dare not look directly. Strange, how has Cao Feng's temperament changed? Seeing the obvious change, Lu Wenjing was secretly surprised. Tap. Cao Feng had a cold face and did not welcome him in. Instead, he stood in front of the living room door. Why, is it? This action surprised Li Yuan even more, and he exclaimed in his heart that his virtuous nephew Cao Feng was somewhat abnormal. I thought I would be very angry or want to salvage this marriage after such a thing happened. However, the other party calmly walked over as if nothing had happened, especially not welcoming them into the hall. I don't know why the leader of the Li family came, why is it? There has been almost no change in attitude, Cao Feng said coldly. Oh no. As soon as these words were spoken, Li Yuan secretly thought it was terrible. His virtuous nephew Cao Feng no longer respected him as an uncle, but instead called him his own identity. That is to say, it indicates that this matter has made the other party resentful. Dear nephew, uncle came here today to talk about your engagement with Xiuning. After all, Li Yuan, who pretended not to see it, said with a smile. Is there anything else we need to say now? Cao Feng could only sneer back at the past in response to this. The invitation has been sent out, and many influential figures invited by the Li family, as well as relatives and friends of the Cao family, are about to arrive. At that time, the consequences of cancelling the engagement banquet can already be foreseen. This matter is indeed not right here. I didn't expect Xiuning to be so stubborn and completely disregard the consequences. The incident has already happened, and uncle feels very guilty. He came here today to apologize to his virtuous nephew. Speaking later, Li Yuan directly admitted his mistake. Apologize. Upon hearing this, Cao Feng gave a playful smile, making it difficult for people to see his thoughts clearly. Is apologizing useful? If it's useful, what do we need to do with the law? What do we need to do with fairness? With just one apology, the dignity of him and the Cao family will be directly trampled upon. The matter has already happened, and doing anything is of no use. Dear nephew, how about uncle arranging a position in the yamen for you? The laughter was somewhat thought-provoking, but Li Yuanquan was right. The virtuous nephew thought he came to apologize empty-handed. Therefore, state the content of compensation in person. Tang Gong apologized in person and even offered you some official and semi-official positions, which can be considered a way to look up to you. Upon hearing this, Lu Wenjing whispered to herself. In his opinion, next, Cao Feng should be grateful for his agreement. Instead of continuing to stand in front of the door, there was no intention of welcoming them in. Thank you very much for the kindness of the head of the Li family. I am not fortunate enough to accept it. This sentence immediately stunned Lu Wenjing. Ah, virtuous nephew. Even Li Yuan was very surprised and didn't react for a moment. This kid, you're not sure what's going on, are you? Lu Wenjing frowned and looked at Cao Feng with displeasure. Since that's the case, add some gold and white jade, as well as 100 acres of fertile land. Li Yuan deliberately added additional compensation, so he patiently said. In fact, I firmly believe that my father's advice is not unfounded. My father has good abilities and is not wrong in judging people and things. Before his death, he specifically reminded me about this matter. Adding these chips and apologizing myself, this matter must be settled. Masterly, I do not accept so-called compensation. Cao Feng glanced at Li Yuan and said word by word. That pair of stars looked at each other like this, their pitch-black pupils like an endless abyss. The dignity of oneself and the entire Cao family is about to be trampled upon, completely becoming the laughingstock of others. Accepting so-called compensation again, what's this? I really don't have any backbone as Cao Feng. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. I can only hope that the Cao family will not rise, right? You are listening at novel full.audio. Strange. Li Yuan felt a moment of shock and instinctively avoided his gaze, feeling extremely shocked in his heart. Today's wise nephew is particularly different. He just didn't take it seriously, but now when he comes into contact with his gaze, the sense of oppression becomes even stronger. Moreover, this aura seemed familiar and seemed to have been seen somewhere before, but it was hard to remember for a moment. You won't have to. During this period, Lu Wenjing repeatedly wanted to come forward and scold, but was stopped by a glance. Uncle's lack of sincerity or something, wise nephew, you can tell yourself. How do you want to compensate you? Li Yuan, who had calmed down a bit and didn't have time to think carefully, asked after him. When you say these words, you are actually ready. Even if you ask too much, you still need to agree. Only in this way can we ease the relationship between the two families and prevent this matter from further worsening. This kid is probably preparing for the lion to speak up. At this thought, Lu Wenjing's gaze even became contemptuous. You ask me, what do you want? Upon hearing this, Cao Feng's expression remained calm, and he took a step back. Wise nephew Li Yuan couldn't help but feel puzzled, not knowing what this virtuous nephew was going to do. I don't want anything, just sever ties with the Li family. Cao Feng walked up to a table and suddenly drew his ordinary sword. However, Tea Jian was right at his waist and he did not choose to use it directly. The reason is simple, like these people, they are not yet equipped with Tai Jian. What are you going to do? Seeing this, Lu Wenjing's face changed greatly. Immediately, he gave a direct reprimand and protected Tang Gong in front of him. Bang! With a muffled sound, Cao Feng lifted his ordinary sword and struck it on the table in front of him. Accompanied by a flash of sharpness, the table snapped in half. Starting today, the Cao and Li families will have no further involvement. In the future, when they meet, they will seek revenge and resentment. Immediately, Cao Feng said word by word. Dear nephew. Li Yuan was suddenly shocked, never expecting to make such a move. You should know that severing diplomatic ties with the Li family would be detrimental to the Cao family without any benefit. After all, the Cao family has declined. If we want to return to the peak, we can only rely on the support of the Li family. If this friendship is broken, the Cao family is destined to be buried, and even the family cannot be called. It's just the anger of Qingpifu. Without the Li family, the Cao family will be destroyed in your hands. Lu Wenjing said disdainfully. The more it is like this, the more displeased Cao Feng is. How can such a person be worthy of Miss Chang? Dear nephew, uncle knows you're angry, but it's not like that yet. Regarding this, Li Yuan earnestly advised. If the marriage alliance fails and we are unable to maintain our previous relationship with the Cao family, then the Li family will completely offend the Cao family and go against their father's last words. Why did Tang Gong do this? Lu Wenjing doesn't understand Tang Gong's actions. This son has already shown such an attitude, so why should he be polite to him? However, it's not easy to say anything. I'm afraid it's because of nostalgia for the old relationship between the two families. Don't be impulsive, my dear nephew. The Cao and Li families are close friends, and this relationship can be broken no matter what. After a pause, Li Yuan continued to advise. The head of the Li family doesn't need to say anything more. Cao Feng's attitude can be said to be resolute. Dear nephew. At this moment, Li Yuan wanted to say something more. Get out of here. Speaking, Cao Feng immediately began to drive people away. Cao Feng, you can't do it anymore. Upon witnessing this scene, Lu Wenjing angrily rebuked. However, with just a cold glare, Lu Wenjing was immediately scared and forced out of the Cao mansion. Bang! 2 talents left the gate of Cao's mansion, but Cao Feng closed the gate without saying a word. How arrogant! Seeing the tightly closed door, Lu Wenjing was burning with anger. Let's go. Li Yuan took a deep look at the Cao mansion. I didn't expect this younger generation to have such a resolute attitude and do something completely detrimental to the Cao family. I can only hope that the Cao family won't rise up. My father was just wrong at first. Accompanied by Li Yuan's secret thoughts, he got on the carriage and began to return the same way. Ding! The host completed the task and breathed a sigh of relief. The task was rated as advanced. Just as Li Yuan was driven away, the system beeped. Very good. Upon careful consideration, Cao Feng understood that Li Yuan had a high status and personally apologized and offered generous compensation. In the end, not only did he not succeed, but he was also kicked out, which was not a pleasant feeling of being closed. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the peerless hero. Li Tsuanxiao. The system prompts. Li Tsuanxiao. Cao Feng's body was shaken up, and there was a saying that goes, Wang is no better than Xiang Jiang than Li. How can a person who can rival the hegemon Xiang Yu in the long river of history be an ordinary person? His innate divine power is superior to that of Li Yuanba, and he once led 18 flying tigers to conquer Chang'an city. Such achievements have amazed countless famous generals. Tap. A footsteps rang out, and Li Tsuanxiao, who didn't look too burly, walked in carrying Yuan Shua and Bai Yanlao on his back. However, his expression was cold and he carried a strong aura of blood evil all over his body. See Lord. Li Tsuanxiao knelt down on one knee and spoke loudly. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Flying Tiger 18 Cavalry. The system continues to prompt. It's great, with the 18 Flying Tigers cavalry, wouldn't it be even more like adding wings to a tiger? Cao Feng swept away his bad mood just now, and it was the Flying Tigers and 18 cavalries who attacked Chang'an city together with Li Tsuanxiao. To achieve such a feat is not only due to Li Tsuanxiao's unparalleled bravery, but also because of the bravery and combat prowess of the 18 cavalry. Shoo! The sound of the prompt fell, and a cavalry dressed in black armor appeared in the courtyard, which was the Flying Tiger 18 cavalry. They are wearing masks, weapons are standard for cavalry, and their horses are also wearing a layer of armor. 18 cavalry are just stationary, giving people a great sense of oppression, no weaker than 1,000 elite cavalry. See Lord. They all dismounted, half kneeling and shouting loudly. Don't be too polite. Cao Feng reached out and made a gesture of support. From then on, the first special branch of the army belonging solely to his Cao Feng was born, and the first general was born. Ding! The system issues new tasks. Wait until everything is received and the system continues to prompt. Ding! The side mission is to defend the dignity of the Cao family and oneself, and not allow others to trample on them. Okay, it's great. Upon hearing this, it was more in line with Cao Feng's plan. In fact, this matter is not over yet, and the dignity of the Cao family and him is still under threat. The engagement banquet invitation has been sent out, and cancellation cannot be cancelled. Today's breath is meaningless. Therefore, he needs to hold the engagement banquet as scheduled in order to preserve the dignity of the Cao family and himself. Li Yuan returned to the Tang dynasty mansion all the way, but his expression was not good. Looking, and his face remained gloomy. Father, what happened? Just as he entered the reception hall, Li Jianqing approached and asked. As for the others, they also noticed their father's ugly expression, indicating that something had happened. Who? Li Yuan sat in the main seat without saying a word, the atmosphere somewhat solidified. For him, what happened just now was not an insult. However, I kept thinking about my father's words and chose to endure them. Xiuning outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Readers, take a look. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This book is non-toxic and safe to consume. I hope everyone likes it. During the new book period, data is still quite important, so please support me a lot. Flowers, monthly tickets, and evaluation tickets are all acceptable. In terms of updates, there are 4 basic updates every day, and sometimes there are 5 or more updates to ensure quality. Xiuning outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Changsun Wugou is a suitable candidate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tang Gong just personally came to the door to apologize, but who could have imagined that Cao Feng didn't appreciate it? Accompanying Lu Wenjing, she angrily recounted the incident. What? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present exclaimed in surprise. According to the script they had in mind, if Cao Feng obtained a position of half an official, he would probably laugh uncontrollably, which could revitalize the entire Cao family. Who would have thought that this person doesn't play cards according to common sense, and it's just okay not to accept an apology? Unexpectedly, they even cut off the Cao family with one sword, their long-standing friendship with the Li family. Too arrogant. Among them, Li Yuan let out a loud shout, looking extremely angry. The rest of the group also had an unpleasant expression, and their anger rose from their hearts. They were the only son of a declining family, who looked down upon no one. As for the private relationship between the two families, my father has done so with utmost benevolence and righteousness, but this guy is still acting like this. As he spoke, Li Shimin couldn't help but clench his fist. Father went to apologize, it was to save face for the Cao family. Cao Feng was simply shameless. Li Jianqing, who is usually not easily angered, kept hearing cold voices. A few young masters, you don't know that Tang Gong always persuades with a gentle and pleasant face from beginning to end. Lu Wenjing spoke more vigorously. The scene of how Cao Feng was executed and subdued, and how he and Tang Gong were driven out. Speaking vividly and vividly, it can be said clearly and clearly. This kid has become so arrogant. Upon hearing this, Dou Shi was infuriated. However, they subconsciously overlooked it. I only think that the head of the Li family came to apologize and was insulted, but I don't know what Li Xiuning's stubbornness will bring to the Cao family. Enough, this matter has been exposed. Silent Li Yuan finally spoke up. Father, can we just forget about it like this? Li Shimin and others were all stunned for a moment. If that's really the case, wouldn't the Li family be ridiculed by some aristocratic families once this news spreads? Yes. Li Yuan appeared very resolute. Even if we sever ties with the Cao family, the situation has not reached an irreversible point. If we allow others to do things recklessly, then the Li and Cao families will completely turn against each other, leaving no room for further action. No. Even if unwilling, the brothers and others had to accept it. Father, since that's the case, how should the guests at the banquet be handled? Li Jianqing inquired. So, just pass on the fact that the engagement banquet has been cancelled to them. I don't even think about it, Li Yuan said directly. However, many people have already set off, estimating that they will arrive soon. Li Jianqing said in difficulty. In other words, the arrival of those powerful individuals is already inevitable and cannot be stopped. Since that's the case, let's wait for them to come and entertain us well, and inform us that the engagement banquet will be cancelled. Upon hearing these words, Li Yuan's eyebrows furrowed tightly. At this point, it can only be so, there is no other better solution. No. Li Jianqing bowed his hand and responded. Li Yuan stood up and left, followed closely by Dou Shi, obviously wanting to ask something more. At this time, there were only 3 brothers, Li Jianqing, remaining in the entire hall. "Brother, can this matter be settled like this?" Just as Li Jianqing was about to leave, Li Shimin suddenly spoke up. "Second brother, what do you mean?" Li Jianqing stopped, but for the first time, he had a reaction to his younger brother Shimin's words. Obviously, the 2 brothers who didn't originally want to deal with had already decided to go together. Cao Feng insulted his father and the Li family like this. This matter cannot be settled like this. He should be taught some lessons. Li Shimin came straight to the point about this. Not bad. Li Yuanji also agrees with this statement. Since that's the case, do you have any suggestions, second brother? Li Jianqing lowered his voice and asked. Their father said it himself, so let's put an end to the matter of the Cao family. If they still want to cause trouble, once their father finds out, they will inevitably be punished. Moreover, once the whereabouts are exposed, it will not be easy to do anything else in the future. Send people to repair Cao Feng well and let him know the consequences of offending the Li family. Li Shimin, who had already planned, sneered. In Daxing City, there are very few people who insult the Li family. How dare a declining family be arrogant? Upon hearing this, Li Yuanji raised his hands in agreement. This matter is feasible, but we need to act secretly and definitely not let our father know. Li Jianqing pondered for a moment and agreed with this proposal. This is natural, we can let Duan Jishuan do it. At this point, Li Shimin gave a playful smile. Wait, why don't you let Li Xiaogong go? He has a way of dealing with people. Li Yuanji said in confusion. Li Xiaogong is actually someone around his father. If he were to go, his father would definitely know. Upon hearing this, Li Shimin explained. What second brother said is exactly what brother meant, so let Duan Jishuan go, and the sooner this happens, the better. Subsequently, Li Jianqing's proposal was finalized. The 3 brothers then went to find Duan Jishuan and asked him to bring some of his troops to the Cao family. The estimated number of people they brought was around 100, which was enough to deal with Cao Feng alone. And Duan Jishuan responded directly and led his people straight to the Cao mansion. In the courtyard of Cao mansion, Cao Feng was pondering how to write articles at the engagement banquet. Since the engagement banquet cannot be cancelled and can only proceed as usual, we can only find a suitable person to replace Li Xiuning. At this moment, Cao Feng came up with a suitable solution. Only in this way can the engagement banquet proceed as usual. Since Li Xiuning has fled, let's walk slowly without seeing him off. But where are you looking for the right person? Cao Feng was a bit troubled, his eyebrows furrowed slightly, thinking back in his mind. Suddenly, a beautiful shadow appeared in his mind. No scale. He called out softly, and this beautiful figure was the one that had grown up from childhood to adulthood, Changsun Wugou. From memory, it is known that the Li siblings have always had a distance with him, and many of their behaviors are just external coping. On the surface, it may seem like a private acquaintance, but sometimes it can be as indifferent as a passerby. A true playmate, it is more accurate to say that they are the eldest grandchildren. Coincidentally, the Cao family was in decline, and the eldest grandchildren were kicked out of the family by their own second uncle. If 3 people encounter the same fate, they can naturally have true friendship and eventually become reliable friends. Moreover, he has a very good relationship with Wugou, and many of his private actions hide his daughter's careful thoughts. Based on these, Cao Feng immediately judged that Wugou might be interested in him. It's just my daughter's family, so I have to be a bit shy, and when it comes to my own child's marriage, I naturally won't take the initiative to say it. No scale. Cao Feng knocked on the table, and the engagement ceremony needed to be held as scheduled. The only suitable person at the moment was Changsun Wugou. Furthermore, the original historical Changsun Wugou was a typical virtuous assistant. Belonging to a woman with talent and courage, she is much better than Li Xiuning. Okay, let's have no dirt. Preserve filial piety. Make up his mind, Cao Feng looked at his trusted general. I am subordinate. Follow me to Gaofu, the faster the better. The engagement banquet is approaching, and it seems a bit urgent to go to the Gao mansion to confirm this matter. So, he needs to buy time and handle it as soon as possible. Flying tigers and 18 riders, guarding the Cao family mansion. Before leaving, Cao Feng instructed the 18 cavalries. No. With the response of the Flying Tiger 18 cavalry, Cao Feng and Li Zuanxiao embarked on the road to Gaofu. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Successful proposal to elders in Shanggao Prefecture. You are listening at novel full.audio. After arriving at Daxingqing Gaofu, Cao Feng can enter directly without reporting. Because his relationship with his eldest grandson and siblings is not as good as usual, and he used to come to the Gao mansion frequently. He often went out for outings with his siblings. The servants of the Gao mansion naturally recognized him and allowed him to pass directly. Cao Feng walked into the gate with Li Zuanxiao, and the servants of the Gao mansion advanced the news of his arrival. Step on. As the two of them walked towards the hall, a burst of footsteps suddenly sounded, Brother Cao Feng. A cheerful call followed in an instant. Immediately, seeing Changsun Wugou with a smile on his face, he quickly stepped up from one side. Shouldn't you be very busy today? How come you have time to come to Gaofu? Arriving in front of Cao Feng, Changsun Wugou joked. Feng brother. Following closely behind, Changsun Wugou also had a joyful expression on his face. Obviously, the siblings warmly welcomed Cao Feng's arrival. This kind of welcome comes from the heart, without any deliberate pretense. Long time no see. Cao Feng also enthusiastically responded to this. The group exchanged a few simple greetings, and Changsun Wugou welcomed Cao Feng into the hall. Has Feng heir arrived? Just arrived at the hall, Gao Shilian also came out with a smiling face. Due to the relationship between the eldest grandson siblings and Cao Feng, he treated Cao Feng as his own nephew. This is also from the heart, not just dealing with things. Uncle Gao. Cao Feng gave a gift. Come, sit down. Subsequently, Gao Shilian invited him to sit down and had someone bring a cup of hot tea. Feng heir, are you here to invite us to the engagement banquet? After sitting down, Gao Shilian asked with a smile. Haha, that's natural. After all, the engagement banquet of the Cao Feng brothers is just a few days away. Before Cao Feng could answer, Changsun Wugou intervened and said. They all thought that Cao sealed the door because of the engagement banquet. Congratulations to Brother Feng. Changsun Wugou, who originally had a smiling face, heard these words and his beautiful eyes became somewhat dim. But soon, she perked up her spirits and forced out a smile. Uncle, I came here for other reasons. Without hesitation, Cao Feng said directly. What's up? There is something more important than engagement, Gao Shilian has some doubts. Proposal. At this moment, Cao Feng directly explained his intention to come. What? As soon as these words were spoken, it was like a thunderbolt, and both Changsun Wugou and Gao Shilian's faces changed drastically. Changsun Wugou was stunned for a moment, his pretty face blushing slightly, secretly delighted. Brother Feng, what's going on? You don't care about Sister Xiuning anymore? Out of curiosity, Changsun Wugou asked specifically. Brush. Gao Shilian and Changsun Wugou looked at Cao Feng, obviously they also wanted to know the reason. Suddenly coming to propose marriage 2 days before the engagement banquet must be something big. Li Xiuning is not worthy of marrying me. Cao Feng remained silent for a moment and said coldly. Subsequently, he revealed about Li Xiuning's escape from marriage and her leaving behind a letter. How could such a thing happen? Gao Shilian frowned. How unreasonable is that? What does the Li family mean? Changsun Wugou was also extremely angry. Changsun Wugou's face was even more unattractive. They all knew what fleeing at this critical moment would bring to the Cao family and myself. The rumors from the outside world about how Li Xiuning, the wife of Li, behaves in society now seem like a joke. Speaking, Gao Shilian sneered twice. If you don't want to, you can explain it before the engagement banquet, and everyone can explain it clearly. Changsun Wugou felt resentful for his friend. It is necessary to express one's attitude in this way at critical moments, isn't it harming the Cao family? In a few words, the benefits of this matter were instantly revealed. The extremely selfish Li family. Similarly, Changsun Wugou grumbled in dissatisfaction. The Li family, one of the 7 prominent families with 5 surnames, is just like that. Gao Shilian is a more experienced person. The Li family's move is extremely inappropriate, and the two families are still close friends. How can such a quarrel end? If the engagement banquet is held as scheduled, how should Cao Feng of the Cao family face guests from all directions? These need to be faced by the younger generation themselves. For the declining Cao family, the insult brought by Li Xiuning's escape from marriage will accompany Cao Feng for a lifetime, and even leave a mark on him. Feng heir, that's why you're thinking of proposing marriage to Wu Qin. Putting aside his thoughts, Gao Shilian asked. During the questioning, a hint of appreciation appeared in his eyes. When such a situation occurred, the younger generation Feng heir appeared very calm and handled it in a more appropriate manner. Completely different from the ordinary acquaintance Cao Feng, especially in his overall demeanor, there has been a significant change. There seemed to be an aura between those eyebrows, which made people feel a bit familiar. Not bad. Cao Feng did not conceal it. Since he told everyone in the Gao mansion about this matter, it showed that he believed in the Gao mansion. Judging from their reactions, his decision was not wrong. No dirt, are you willing to be engaged to me? Immediately, he looked at Changsun Wugou again. Wugou was stunned for a moment and instinctively nodded. That fair face looks like. It has quietly spread into a red halo. Uncle. Suddenly remembering that he had not asked his elders, Changsun Wugou quickly looked at his uncle. How could I refuse? Seeing his immaculate expression in his eyes, Gao Shilian stroked his beard and smiled. Firstly, Feng heir is a person worthy of trust. Furthermore, how can one not understand the immaculate caution? Moreover, he still watched Cao Feng grow up and had a better understanding of this younger generation. Thank you very much, uncle. Upon hearing this, Changsun Wugou was overjoyed. No matter what, I never imagined that there would be a reversal in the situation between myself and brother Feng. In this way, isn't Cao Feng and I getting closer together? Changsun Wugou laughed heartily. This matter has been basically confirmed. Thank you very much, Uncle Gao. Cao Feng bowed to Gao Shilian again. Feng heir doesn't need to be polite. Since it's confirmed, we should quickly prepare. Time is running out. Gao Shilian paused for a moment, and time was indeed a bit tight. 2 days later, it was the engagement banquet. Okay, that kid is leaving for now. Cao Feng also knew that time was tight and spoke up. Go ahead. Gao Shilian waved his hand. The matter was settled, and Cao Feng didn't delay any longer. He quickly got up and left the Gao mansion. Wugou, go and call for the fulfillment. Immediately, Gao Shilian ordered. Yes. In less than a moment, Changsun Wugou came with Gao Fuli. Father, what's up? Gao Shi bowed and asked. Send people to send wedding invitations to guests from all directions, and also decorate the mansion. Immediately afterwards, Gao Shilian instructed. Ah! Gao Shi was stunned for a moment. This statement seems somewhat inexplicable. Could it be that there has been a happy event in the Gao mansion recently? Brother, let me tell you. Changsun Wugou patted Cao Fuli's shoulder. After speaking, he recounted the whole story of Cao Feng's recent arrival. Are you serious at this moment? Cao Fuli was equally happy, and as soon as he looked at the person involved, Chang Wumo, his eyes were full of questioning intent. Yes. Changsun Wugou blushed with embarrassment, but he still responded. P.S. If you think it's okay, with the support of all the readers, flower monthly tickets and evaluation tickets are all acceptable. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. The Liangzi of the Cao and Li families can be considered as a knot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Great, but I never expected that Iron Lady would act like this. Seeing Changsun Wugou respond, Cao Fuli sighed. Due to their slightly older age, they all regard Wu Ji and Cao Feng as younger brothers. He naturally agreed with this marriage. After all, his impure mind also guessed a bit. Since you know the reason, why are you still here? Why don't you hurry up and handle it? Regarding this, Gao Shilian smiled. What the father said was that the child immediately went to distribute invitations. Gao Shi put aside his thoughts and hurriedly responded. The Gao family is also one of the aristocratic families. Since Wu Jie wants to get engaged, he naturally wants to be lively and personally organize this engagement event. Their movements are not much smaller than those of the Li family. I also went to decorate it. After walking on high shoes, Changsun Wugou took the initiative to say. Although the banquet is mainly held in Cao Mansion, Gao Mansion needs to be decorated. When we get married in the future, we can add some decorations on top of the foundation. The government quickly prepared and everything began to run smoothly. I thought I had no chance with brother Cao Feng, but I didn't expect. Changsun Wugou looked at the busy crowd in the Gao Mansion, both excited and nervous for a moment. As for Cao Feng, by the time he returned to Cao Mansion, the sky had already darkened. The last sunset disappeared on the roof of Cao Mansion. On the branches of the moon, all things remained silent. Not long after Cao Feng arrived, several figures quietly approached Cao's mansion, wearing night clothes and mixing with the darkness. If we don't observe carefully, it's difficult to find their traces. This group of people is the Li family guards sent by Li Shimin and others, led by Duan Jishuan. General Duan, the Cao mansion has arrived. A man in black said. Okay, let's take action and tidy up that ignorant Cao Feng. Immediately, Duan Jishuan coldly ordered. Wow! A group of people climbed through the walls of Cao mansion. Step on. Crossing the wall, they landed on both feet to stabilize their figure. When he looked up, everyone's expressions shook. In front of them, Cao Feng held his hands and looked at them with interest. Behind him stood 18 dismounted flying tigers and Li Yuan, who was full of killing intent. These people may not have made any big fuss, but in Li Yuan's ears, their movements were not small. So, in an instant, it was known that someone had broken into Cao's mansion. Masked. Seeing this, Cao Feng squinted his eyes slightly. Hands on. Since he was discovered, Duan Jishuan is not talking nonsense. Kill. An estimated 100 Li family private soldiers rushed forward. Be filial and capture the masked leader alive. I want to see who visited Cao's mansion late at night. Cao Feng ordered in a low voice, and in fact, he already had a guess in his heart. What only happens during the day, someone visits in the late night, and it is already clear who the visitor is. However, he still needs to confirm. No. Li Yuan responded, he just pulled out by Yan Lao and went to kill Duan Jishuan. At the same time, the 18 flying tigers charged forward, and the entire Cao mansion was immediately plunged into a chaotic battle, with constant cries of killing. Amidst the interplay of sharpness and sharpness, screams of agony echoed one after another. The flying tiger cavalry is incredibly brave in battle, with decisive and ruthless attacks. They are the true soldiers fighting on the battlefield. So, how can this group of Li family private soldiers be compared to them? Ah! Without a moment's effort, the Li family guards of over 100 people became cold corpses on the ground, and the blood stained the ground red. Damn it! Seeing this scene, Duan Jishuan's face turned pale from fear. He was about to climb out of the wall and escape directly from the Cao mansion. Li Yuan leaped up, reached out his big hand and suddenly probed, almost instantly pulling the other person back and lifting their mask. So it's you. His true face was exposed before his eyes, and Cao Feng searched for this face in his memory. Soon, he knew the identity of the person in front of him. As soon as the head of the Li family left, he sent someone to visit him late at night, which is really impressive. Cao Feng kept sneering at this. You know I'm from the Li family, why don't you let go? Duan Jishuan pretended to be tough and said. Cao Feng took a playful glance, and from this gaze, the latter saw a cold killing intent. Noisy. Seeing the lord's gaze indicating, Li Yuan drew out his sword. Pui. He wielded his sword and chopped off Duan Jishuan's head. Put this person's head in a wooden box and give it to the Li family after the engagement banquet is over. Without hesitation, Cao Feng said coldly. No. Li Yuan responded and then asked someone to bring a wooden box and put the head inside. Before his death, Duan Jishuan didn't even realize that he was just coming to teach Cao Feng a lesson. Unexpectedly, this became his own death date. Li Yuan, cutting off ties during the day is just to vent his anger. Tonight's incident has completely caused a rift between our two families. Cao Feng raised his head and looked at the high full moon. As the saying goes, people come and go. If the Li family sends someone to give a gift, let's take this person's head as a return gift. Clean it up. Putting aside his thoughts, Cao Feng gave an order. No. Everyone started moving, they moved the body away, and finally cleared the bloodstains. After dawn, everything returned to normal, as if nothing had happened yesterday. Creak. The gate of Cao mansion has been open for a day, and tomorrow is the engagement banquet. It is estimated that someone will come to visit today. Step on. As expected, there was a sound of footsteps, and then only a somewhat capable man walked over. Although this person's clothes are not luxurious, their overall temperament is absolutely extraordinary. Brother Cao Feng. Just as he entered the door, he shouted out. Upon hearing the commotion, Cao Feng quickly walked out, and upon seeing this person pondering for a moment, he knew the identity of the newcomer. It was Li Jing, the nephew of Han Qinhu, the great general of the Sui dynasty. Li Jing's family and Cao's family are also close friends, and their relationship is extraordinary. Otherwise, it wouldn't have arrived earlier. Brother Li. After thinking about it, Cao Feng warmly greeted him. I didn't expect Brother Li to come earlier than me. Just as Li Jing was welcomed into the hall, another voice rang out. A scholar dressed in a green shirt walked in, this young man with wise eyes shining. Cao Feng glanced up and down, and with the memory in his mind, he also captured this person's identity. This person is Fang Xianling, and his family was once helped by the Cao family. If it weren't for the help of the Cao family, the aristocratic family behind Fang Xianling would not be considered a noble family now. Because of this, the two families are also close friends, and their relationship is also good. Xianling. Cao Feng and Li Jing greeted each other. Although they are rare to see each other, due to their respective aristocratic families, the three of them can be considered old friends. Therefore, there is definitely no formality when meeting. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. The world friendship of the Cao family has started to come one after another. You are listening at novel full.audio. Cao Mansion is still the same as before. After sitting down, Feng Xianling looked around and had a certain feeling. Yeah, I also have some memories here back then. Regarding this, Li Jing next to him agreed. Several families have good relationships, so it is common for them to come and go to Cao when they were young. I don't know where to go now, pharmacist. At this moment, Feng Xianling suddenly asked. I'm still the same, serving as a moderate official in a place in Bingzhou. When mentioning this matter, Li Jing let out a bitter smile. Pharmacist. Others may not know, but Cao Feng does know. How could this worldly friend settle for mediocrity? Perhaps in the eyes of others, an official position that can provide for food and clothing is worthless. What about brother Xianling? Li Jing put away the gloom in his eyes and took the opportunity to say. I have already resigned from my position. Speaking of which, Feng Xianling is also very helpless. It seems that you and I share the same illness. Huh, Li Jing joked with a smile. Yeah, it's better for brother Cao. He started a family at a young age and is about to marry a talented assistant. Speaking, Feng Xianling continued to look at Cao Feng. The two of you are too serious. There has been an incident at this engagement banquet. Cao Feng waved his hand. What's the solution? Both of them were stunned when they heard this. It's like this. Because of their good relationship, Cao Feng truthfully informed Li Xiuning of the matter. How unreasonable. After speaking, Li Jing frowned and shouted angrily on the spot. Fortunately, today is not an engagement banquet, and there aren't many people present. Otherwise, everyone would pay attention to the activity here, inevitably breaking the atmosphere of the upcoming festive day. How could the Li family act like this? Li Xiuning's actions are also inconsistent with rumors. Feng Xianling furrowed his brows and looked very displeased. The Cao and Li families are both close friends, hasn't Li Xiuning considered the consequences? Li Jing's emotions kept rising, and the relationship between the Cao and Li families can be traced back to 3 generations. It can be said that this kind of relationship is not insignificant, surpassing the friendship of their parents. For the engagement banquet, they all sincerely wished and never expected this to happen. So brother Cao, what are you going to do? Immediately, Feng Xianling asked with concern. Li Xiuning, how can she match me? Immediately after, Li Jing was taken aback by the ambition in his words. Therefore, I chose Changsun Wugou, and the engagement banquet continued as usual. Speaking of which, Cao Fengbu smiled. That's great. Upon hearing this, Feng Xianling's expression suddenly changed from dark to clear. Of course, the two were surprised by the change in their friend's temperament. Furthermore, it is said that Changsun Wugou is a renowned lady who excels in piano, chess, and calligraphy. Compared to Li Xiuning, they were more suitable as virtuous assistants, and they sincerely felt happy for Cao Feng. I don't know if you two have any plans in the future. After speaking about himself, Cao Feng asked. He also wanted to take this opportunity to see what the rumored military gods and peerless prime ministers were capable of. The situation in the world is relatively chaotic, and it's not easy to find a way out. Speaking of which, Li Jing appeared quite confused. Yeah, there have been 4 uprisings of rebels in various regions, and the external threats are also very serious. After these words, Feng Xianling quite agreed. In fact, the expedition shouldn't have been fought like this. It's not worth a lot of effort. Li Jing opened his conversation box, with a glint in his eyes. It seems that Brother Li has his own unique insights. Cao Feng suddenly became interested. Goguryeo is too far away, with a long expedition route for supplies, and the enemy's strength is not weak. Li Jing expressed his own opinion, which was one of the reasons for the failure of the expedition. Even if we want to attack, we must proceed step by step and not be greedy for speed. With further elaboration, Fang Xianling beside him listened attentively. The Great Sui dynasty had strong national strength and could gradually consume Goguryeo as its main focus. Li Jing continued. As soon as these words were spoken, Cao Feng secretly praised them in his heart, truly worthy of being the god of war in later generations. As mentioned earlier, it is the main strategy for future generations to eliminate Goguryeo. Exciting. Fang Xianling applauded and said. Brother Xianling, what do you think of the current world? After speaking, Li Jing looked at Fang Xianling. The people's emotions are indignant, mainly due to food shortages and displacement. If we could implement benevolent policies to stabilize the people's hearts and restore food production in various regions, then too Goguryeo would be even more perfect. Fang Xianling pondered. Not bad. Li Jing smiled in agreement. Once Goguryeo wins, the royal family regains its dignity, the people's hearts gather, and some young people naturally dare not make any changes. This combination of literary and martial ideas is eye-catching. The two of you said something really wonderful. These words are true, Cao Feng nodded. These two people's talents are so outstanding today that they can indeed become the future team members. I made a fool of myself in front of Brother Cao. After chatting for a while, Cao Feng got up and went to get busy with other things because other people have come to visit one after another, all of whom are truly friends with the Cao family or have received help from the Cao family. Among them were some ordinary people, and the Cao mansion swept away the previous desolation and became slightly lively. At the same time, in the Li mansion, Li Shimin, the three brothers, and two others have been somewhat abnormal in recent days. The three of them surprisingly did not argue, but instead stayed calmly in the Jingyuan on this day. Step on. Li Jianqing paced back and forth in the pavilion, his eyebrows furrowed. Why hasn't Zhishuan come back yet? If his father finds out, the three of us will inevitably be punished. He said anxiously. Not bad, starting from last night, we should arrive no later than today. Li Shimin also had some doubts. The Cao family is just a declining family, and including the servants of the mansion, they are only about 10 people. They sent out a whole 100 people. On the surface, it was a guard of the Li family, but in reality, it was a private soldier trained by the Li family in preparation for the uprising. These people have all undergone formal training and can easily deal with about 10 ordinary people. It is said to be the latest the next day. According to normal circumstances, I'm afraid I should be back by 3 o'clock. Didn't it mean that after Duan Zhishuan finished his task, he went to get busy with other things? After thinking for a moment, Li Yuan guessed. It's impossible. With Duan Zhishuan's personality, once the matter is completed, he will definitely come back and report as soon as possible. Li Shimin firmly stated this point. Since that's the case, I'm afraid there has been a sudden change. Then I was surprised, and if there was a problem, it could be explained. Impossible, this Cao Fengwen text is weak, how can it stir up a wave of flowers? Then wait and see. When Duan Zhishuan comes back, ask him and you'll know. Upon hearing this, Li Jianqing shook his head. That's all I can do. Li Shimin thought carefully about Cao Feng's weak demeanor, and felt that Duan Zhishuan would not miss. Li Jianqing and his companions could not have imagined that not only the hundreds of private soldiers of the Li family had become corpses. Duan Zhishuan's head was cut off and will be delivered after the engagement banquet of Cao Feng. Li Shimin never expected that the long-awaited Changsun Wugou would soon become one of the main characters at the engagement banquet. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. is about supporting the scenes for the prospective couple. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Gaofu. Under the careful management of the Gao family, many invitations have been quickly distributed. Almost every other day, people started coming to congratulate them one after another. Brother Gao. With a call, Gao Shilian only heard this voice and knew who was coming. The owner of this voice is Xiaoyu, and they have been friends for many years. How could they not hear each other's voices? Gao Shilian quickly stood up and personally went to greet him. Tap. When they arrived outside the hall, they saw Xiaoyu and the underworld master walking together. I also have a good relationship with the underworld master and am one of my close colleagues. Brother Gao, congratulations. The underworld master and Xiaoyu both arched their hands and said. Hurry up, please come in. Gao Shilian quickly waved his hand and welcomed the two into the hall, then ordered someone to brew hot tea and bring it over. Brother Gao, what exactly happened to this shameless engagement? After sitting down, seeing no one around, Xiaoyu asked directly. The invitation sent by Gao Shilian refers to the engagement banquet between Wu Jie and Cao Feng. However, it was Li Xiuning, the eldest lady of the Li family, who was engaged to Cao Feng before. So, while both were surprised, they concluded that something must have happened inside. I won't hide it from you either. Gao Shilian explained the situation between Cao Feng and Li Xiuning, including the process of Cao Feng coming to propose marriage. In fact, specifically calling these famous and familiar people here is to support the scenes of the impure couple. How could such a thing happen? After listening, the underworld master was amazed. If it weren't for Shilian's deliberate explanation, they wouldn't have thought of it. Surprisingly, he fled the engagement banquet 2 days before. Isn't this to make the Cao family feel ashamed? Xiaoyu furrowed his brows. As an outsider, he felt that Li Xiuning's actions were really excessive. After all, the Cao family and the Li family are generations of close friends. Yeah. Regarding this, Gao Shilian sighed. It is rumored that although Li Xiuning is a female general, she is quite good at dealing with people and society. I didn't expect her to be so stubborn. The underworld master also shook his head constantly, obviously Li Xiuning's actions greatly reduced their impression of him. Gao Shilian understood their feelings, and when he learned about this, his feelings were the same as theirs. No wonder the government is so eager to distribute invitations, just to prepare quickly. Xiaoyu finally understood that the sudden reason for the invitation sent by Gao Fu was that he thought Gao Shilian had forgotten his old friend. He received the invitation without knowing about such a big event in advance. Li Xiuning was quite stubborn and acted recklessly, and Cao Feng's failure to marry was also a blessing in disguise. At this moment, the underworld master smiled. If married, who knows if Li Xiuning will make any amazing moves in the future. This damage to the reputation of the Cao family is undoubtedly adding insult to injury for the already declining Cao family. If Li Xiuning missed out on marrying Wu Kuei, that kid Cao Feng would have made a big profit. Xiaoyu changed the topic. What exactly is Wu Jie like, and how have they been in contact with Gao Shilian for many years? This woman is very virtuous and a talented woman. Not only is she proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, but she also has a certain level of knowledge. The most crucial thing is being gentle and considerate, truly capable of bearing the 4 major characters of a lady from a wealthy family. Cao Feng has good abilities, as can be seen from his handling of this matter. So, Brother Gao, you don't have to worry, you can trust him with peace of mind. Speaking, Xiaoyu squinted his eyes slightly. Not bad, at such a young age, one can calmly cope with such changes, and indeed cannot find faults. Upon hearing praise from his friend, Gao Shilian undoubtedly felt proud. When Wu Qin gets married, Cao Feng will become his nephew and son.in.law. Haha. Upon hearing the arrogance in the words, Master Yin and Xiaoyu burst into laughter, creating a festive atmosphere. Immediately, Cao Shilian temporarily settled the two and got up to entertain the others. He has a good network in the court, so there are also many people who came early. On the eve of the engagement banquet, I become busy and it is reasonable for me to please. The outside is bustling with cheers and congratulations. The eldest grandson siblings and Gao Shifu stayed in the backyard. Perhaps it was the thought of a formal engagement tomorrow that made Changsun Wugou both excited and nervous. A pair of beautiful eyes stared blankly at the starry night sky, unsure of what they were thinking. After Wu Qin married, we became true relatives with Cao Feng. The son of Gao Shilian, also known as Gao Fuli, chatted with Changsun Wugou. Yeah, I was originally a childhood sweetheart and could become a family member, but it's like being close together. Changsun Wugou was also overjoyed. It is not difficult to see from this that he strongly supports his sister's engagement with Cao Feng. You should know that from a young age, Wugou relied on himself for survival, and in his eyes, this was his closest relative. Therefore, it is also a person that must be protected. If the other party does not gain their approval, how can they marry without any worries? You're right, and it's even more joyful. This is undoubtedly highly agreed upon by high performance. No dirt, we're going to get engaged tomorrow. How can we regain our souls and refuse to part ways? During a casual conversation, I discovered that there was no dirt and no sound, so I immediately asked Gao Shi. Changsun Wugou lowered her head, not noticing that her face had turned slightly rosy due to the darkness. For no dirt, this reversal is too big, everything came too suddenly. Seeing his sister's shyness, Changsun Wugou said something. Even they have this feeling, let alone the immaturity of the parties involved. What my elder brother said is, but Wugou is already satisfied. Changsun Wugou regained his normal complexion with a smile. It seems that Wugou has long been interested in brother Cao. Regarding this, Gao Shi joked. If that's true, as an elder brother, I haven't realized it yet. Similarly, Changsun Wugou joked along. The two older brothers are chatting slowly, and Wugou needs to go back and prepare. Changsun Wugou had a big red face, dropped these words, and walked towards the boudoir. She sat alone in front of the mirror, but her heart was pounding. Now is the engagement banquet and not yet the formal wedding banquet, until the official wedding day. Changsun Wugou looked at himself in the mirror, becoming increasingly nervous. Miss, at the engagement banquet, we also need to prepare engagement items. The maid beside reminded me. Yes, this matter is very important and cannot be forgotten. Changsun Wugou returned to the path. She didn't forget, she just never thought of something suitable. At this moment, she searched in her mind again, pondering over and over, seemingly unable to find the desired token. By the way, she suddenly pulled out a jade pendant, which was given to her by her late father. The jade pendant is priceless and natural, with some protective symbols engraved on it. It can be said that this jade pendant is undoubtedly of extraordinary significance to her. If used as a token of engagement for her and her brother, it would be most appropriate. I've decided it's you. With you always by Feng's side, it's like me. Thinking about it, Changsun Wugou smiled contentedly. P.S. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Li Shimin suddenly becomes lost in Seoul. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The preparations on this side of the Gao mansion were lively, and the relevant news naturally spread. I also received relevant news from the Li family in Daxing City. In the hall of Li Mansion, Cao Feng's engagement banquet will be held as scheduled. Li Yuan announced this matter in front of everyone. The Li Jianqing brothers clearly learned the news in advance. Li Jianqing was squinting his eyes, looking at his second brother. As for Li Shimin, his face was ugly and he sat silently on the side. Father, we all know about it. Cao Feng chose to marry his eldest grandson Wugou. Li Jianqing spoke up. When he said these words, he kept looking at his younger brother Li Shimin. Moreover, he deliberately bit the words, Changsun Wugou, with extra force. Click. Li Shimin couldn't bear to speak, but his fists were clenched and his forehead was bulging with veins. Who in the family doesn't know? He wants to marry his eldest grandson Wugou, but he didn't expect such a thing to happen suddenly. The child couldn't figure out why Changsun Wugou chose Cao Feng instead of second brother. Similarly, Li Yuan said with a strange tone of yin and yang. Although the two did not openly mock Li Shimin, their words had a different flavor when heard. Cao Feng was just the son of the declining Cao family, while Li Shimin was the second son of the Li family's Tang family. In terms of status, he was much higher than the former. However, as a talented woman in Daxing City, Changsun Wugou surprisingly chose the former. Does this mean that Li Shimin is not as good as Cao Feng? Second brother, it's okay. Li Jianqing comforted on his face. However, in his heart, he was gloating. This incident may have dealt a blow to his younger brother Li Shimin. Seeing Li Shimin like this, he felt extremely happy in his heart. Although they had temporarily stood together against Cao Feng before, it was only temporary and did not mean that the three brothers were truly united. There is such an opportunity to make fun of Li Shimin, and Li Jianqing will definitely not let it go. All right. Seeing this, Li Yuan waved his hand and said. He could see that his son Shimin's mood was low, and he was vastly different from before. Yes. Li Jianqing and others also accept what they see as good, and if they continue, they will inevitably be blamed by their parents. That's good. Cao Feng's resentment towards our Li family is probably not that deep. Li Yuan sighed in response. Master, but the people of the world. Dou Shi is going to say something. Li Yuan waved his hand, indicating that she didn't need to continue speaking. He didn't even know the thoughts of Shimin. He wanted to help his second son and reclaim Changsun Wugou, but he owed him a debt to Cao Feng. Moreover, Gao Shilian is not a soft persimmon, and it is unlikely to force him to change his mind. Haha. Li Jianqing smiled even more happily upon seeing the situation. Li Shimin wanted to open his mouth several times, but when the words reached his lips, he couldn't say anything. It's okay. Seeing all of this, Li Yuan said helplessly. Shimin, think about it. Since Changsun Wugou has a liking for Cao Feng, it means she is short-sighted. Does such a woman deserve you? At this moment, Dou comforted. I understand. Li Shimin didn't want to listen anymore and said perfunctorily. After speaking, he walked straight out of the hall. I hope Shimin can quickly digest this news. Looking at Li Shimin's back, Li Yuan thought to himself. Li Shimin did not return to his dormitory, but left Li Mansion and headed towards Gao Mansion. He wants to change everything. What if Changsun Wugou is forced? Who? When I arrived at Gao Mansion, I saw some festive decorations, and there were faint sounds of laughter and joy. Li Shimin felt stabbing pain coming from within. Let me inform you that Li Shimin is here to pay his respects. Li Shimin remained calm and said to the servants of the Gao Mansion. After the announcement, Li Shimin directly entered the mansion. Specially avoiding the crowd, he arrived at the hall of the mansion and saw Gao Shilian who was going to visit. Changsun Wugou followed along. I have met uncle and brother Changsun. Li Shimin politely bowed. Shimin, why did you come here? Gao Shilian asked casually. The attitude is neither cold nor warm, and the handling is just right. And Changsun Wugou stood beside him without saying a word, looking at Li Shimin. I want to ask, why did Wugou get engaged to Cao Feng? Was it forced? Li Shimin couldn't help but speak directly. Dear nephew, don't say this nonsense. Upon hearing this, Gao Shilian's expression was somewhat displeased. If it weren't for that, why would she agree to marry the weak Cao Feng instead of me? Li Shimin was a bit puzzled. He was clearly much better than Cao Feng. Weakness. Gao Shilian remained silent for the time being, but his expression became increasingly unattractive. Young Master Li, that's too much. Changsun Wugou's tone is a bit heavy. After all, he had a good relationship with Cao Feng, so naturally he couldn't hear Li Shimin say so. Furthermore, with the incident involving Li Xiuning, her attitude was even more indifferent. Uncle Gao, it's better to betroth Wu Jie to me. This will benefit both your and my families. At this moment, Li Shimin pleaded. In his view, compared to the declining Cao family, his Li family had 5 surnames and 7 expectations. This will bring unexpected benefits to the government. Moreover, both engagement banquets and weddings will become lively and lively. It may even be alarming, as members of the royal family come to bless and have the ability to take care of their eldest grandson Wugou. Cao Feng and Wugou had no engagement, nor was it through matchmaking, but rather through mutual consent. There is no coercion. If I were to intervene, it would really have forced Wugou. Upon hearing this, Gao Shilian spoke up again. What? Li Shimin exclaimed in surprise, and his expression immediately froze. He doesn't doubt what Uncle Gao said. Is it necessary for such a person to deceive him? Or for Cao Feng, a declining family? Not bad, young Master Li, don't think too much. Please come back as soon as possible. My attitude hasn't changed, said Changsun Wugou coldly. Farewell. Li Shimin immediately stood up and, upon receiving this answer, he left the Gao mansion in a state of despair. After returning to the Li family, his 2 brothers had already learned that he had gone to the Gao mansion. Second brother, why did you run to the Gao mansion? Are you trying to make Uncle Gao change his mind? This is a good opportunity to hit the opponent, Li Jianqing deliberately said. Li Shimin remained silent, walking past Li Jianqing like a walking corpse. If it had been in the past, Li Jianqing would have been somewhat unhappy, but today's situation is special, as can be seen from his demeanor. His second younger brother went to the Gao mansion and probably suffered a blow. What, Uncle Gao doesn't agree? Strange, from the perspective of interests, Uncle Gao wouldn't be so right. Is it true that second brother is not as good as Cao Feng? Li Yuan gloated and said. Tap. As Li Shimin walked, they followed along. However, no matter what they say, the parties involved remain silent. I didn't seem to hear them speak, my whole body was like a machine. It seems that the second younger brother has suffered a considerable blow, so that's good. Li Jianqing stopped and took a meaningful glance at the lonely back of his second brother Shimin. If my second younger brother continues like this, the heavy responsibility of the Li family will inevitably fall on him in the future. Why not do it? P.S. A new day has arrived, and I hope everyone can support me. The author will write even more brilliantly. Thank you again. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.